welcome to IoT Marketing Live. I'm Tiffany Nielsen, and with me is my co host, the CEO and founder of IoT Marketing, Johannes Beekman. How are you doing today, Johannes?
After 3 days of power outage, Tiffany, last week, I'm really enjoying having electricity. So thank you, Nikola Tesla, Thomas Edison, and all the famous and nameless heroes who have brought us all the electricity-driven devices and comfort. When you lose power for a few days, you realize all the things that we take for granted. How are you, Tiffany?
Well, fortunately, I've had my power on, so I have nothing to complain about. And I'm especially looking forward to the IoT Evolution Expo next week in Fort Lauderdale, where I will be moderating 3 sessions. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And I know you'll be joining me in sunny Florida, Johannes, and I'm sure you're looking forward to that as well. And thank you to everyone for watching and joining us today as we explore the latest news for IoT and high tech. Let's first look at some security related news. Researchers are warning about a spike in exploitation, attempts weaponizing a critical remote code execution flaw in Realtek Jungle SDK. According to Palo Alto Networks Unit 42, the ongoing campaign is said to have recorded a whopping 134 million exploit attempts as of December 2022, with 97% of the attacks occurring in the past 4 months. First observed in September 2022, the Red GoBot campaign involves dropping a shell script that's designed to download a number of botnet clients tailored to different CPU architectures. The malware, once launched, is equipped to run operating system commands and mount DDoS attacks. Unit 42 said it discovered 3 different kinds of payloads distributed as a result of in the wind exploitation of the flaw. A script executes a shell command on the targeted server to download additional malware. An injected command that writes a binary payload to a file and executes it, and an injected command that directly reboots the targeted server to cause a denial of service or DOS condition. And many of the attacks we observed tried to deliver malware to infect vulnerable IoT devices, Unit 42 researchers said. In a report, adding threat groups are using this vulnerability to carry out large scale attacks on smart devices around the world. And this seems like quite a large number of exploit attempts. Wouldn't you agree, Johannes?
I do agree, Tiffany. It is a large number, but let's break this down because there is a lot going on here. So, first, today, there are roughly 2 billion PCs and 14 billion plus IoT devices in the world. So the computer industry is stable, the IoT industry is taking off. So it's no surprise that cybersecurity experts say 2022 may have marked an inflection point due to the rapid deployment of IoT devices. IoT devices are now a key entry point for many attacks, according to Microsoft's Digital Defense Report 2022. Second, the IT and IoT industry have a major problem. The cybersecurity community reported over 26,000 new critical vulnerabilities that were discovered in 2022. And for the record, the hacker community reported over 65,000 new vulnerabilities. Third, also according to Microsoft Digital Defense Report 2022, while the security of IT hardware and software has strengthened in the recent years, the security of Internet of Things has not kept pace, according to the report. In short, everything that the IT industry has developed, like firewalls, antivirus software, and an extensive software patch system, to give a few examples, will have to be ported over to the IoT industry. Now, a few things are happening here in the background. So, one, semiconductor companies are developing and providing IoT security solutions slash chips. So we have hardware solutions that are available. Second, we have IoT device management platforms for remote software updates. And then we have IoT security platforms and IoT firewalls. And recently, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST, has selected the ASCON group of cryptographic algorithms for its lightweight cryptography standard to protect the data of IoT devices. This new standard for IoT devices will be published later in 2023. So the hardware and software tools are available, and in many cases, they are ported over from tools used by the IT industry, but the IoT industry will need to adopt and deploy them. So to come back to your question, Tiffany, we are dealing with billions of devices that are currently minimally protected and that operate in a very dynamic cyber environment of over 70 new critical vulnerabilities every day. This wouldn't have been a problem if cybercrime was not so lucrative, but cybercrime is $1 trillion business. So, yes, we can expect to see some large numbers.
Thank you, Johannes. And it makes me wonder if this story wouldn't impact our next story, as it is no surprise that IoT device makers are sad that 50% of smart devices are never connected to the internet. Appliance makers like Whirlpool and LG just can't wrap their head around why only 50% or fewer of the Wi Fi enabled dishwashers, ovens, and refrigerators, to name a few, have not had their owners connect them. What gives? Well, the issue, according to manufacturers quoted in the Wall Street Journal, is that customers just don't know all the things a manufacturer can do if users connect the device that spins their clothes or keeps their food cold. Things like providing manufacturers with data and insights about how customers are using their products and allowing companies to send over the air updates and self relevant replacement parts or subscription services. The challenge is that consumers don't see true value that manufacturers see in terms of how that data can help them in the long run. So they don't really care for spending time just to connect it, said Henry Kim, US Director of LG's Smart Devices Division, ThinQ, which told the Journal. And LG told the Journal that fewer than half of smart appliances, which represent 80 to 90% of its sold appliances, stay connected to the internet. Additionally, Whirlpool reported that more than half are connected at some point, but Wi Fi connected smart appliances may be connected when they're first set up. But as you get a new internet provider, new router hardware, or the Wi Fi password changes, this could take the device offline. And a smart oven is likely to be low on the list of devices to set up again once that happens. How do you feel about those stats, Johannes?
Well, encouraging your customers to connect your smart appliances to the internet seems like the logical thing to do, right? However, this can quickly turn into a PR nightmare if said smart appliance then uploads extensive data sets or images to the cloud. It also doesn't help that some appliance companies have bad histories with network security access. The White House IoT security labeling effort that we mentioned before in one of the newscasts is definitely a step in the right direction. But the appliance industry has some work to do to address the privacy and security issues. But once we get over this privacy and security bump, it's not immediately clear to me what the benefits are for the customer. And I'm sure you'll have to look this on a case to case basis, but appliance manufacturers will have to educate and convince their customers that there is a benefit and or a good reason why their appliance needs to be connected to the internet.
Thanks, Johannes. And despite the lack of adoption for connecting these smart devices, the speed of innovation has not slowed down whatsoever. So, what else is IoT cooking in the kitchen? Well, Slurp.com released an interesting article on some of the many smart devices for the kitchen. Smart ovens allow you to control cooking temperatures and times remotely using your smartphone, meaning that you can schedule and monitor the preparation of long cook items such as whole chickens while you're still at work and have it ready by the time you get off work. And smart fridges can track food inside and send you notifications when you're running low on certain items, helping you to reduce food waste and ensure that you always have the right ingredients on hand. Another way the Internet of Things is changing the way that we prepare food is through the use of virtual assistants and voice activated devices like Amazon's Alexa and Google Home that can be used to set timers, convert measurements, and even find recipes. IoT is also revolutionizing the way we serve food, highlighting a newer concept, smart plates. And smart plates can track the temperature, texture, and portion size of food, and then adjust the plate's temperature. When paired with ambient smart lighting, this tech even it can even enhance the dining experience, making the presentation of food more dynamic and even change the way it tastes. IoT enabled kitchen gadgets such as soy vide cookers, pressure cookers, and air fryers are also becoming more popular. With a smartphone or tablet, you can control and keep an eye on these appliances remotely. And restaurants are using IoT enabled devices to track customer orders and preferences, allowing them to provide a more personalized dining experience, including things like recommending dishes based on past orders or adjusting the temperature of a table's lighting to match the customer's mood. And IoT devices such as RFID tags and sensors can be integrated into the food supply chain, allowing real time tracking and monitoring of products. This allows for greater visibility and transparency in the supply chain, making it more difficult for counterfeit products to enter the market. And blockchain technology is also being used to create tamper proof records of a product's journey from farm to table, making it even harder for counterfeit products to enter the market by confirming its authenticity. And last year we had the Connected Food webinar. And Johannes, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on some of these somewhat new concepts for connecting the kitchen.
Well, first off, Tiffany, we missed the 3D printed pancakes at the CES.
Darn.
The 3D food printing market is alive and well, and is projected to reach $2 billion USD by 2027, which is a CAGR of 57.3% according to market. So I'm sure we'll see more 3D printed food solutions at CES 2024. I wonder when we'll see the first 3D food printer in the kitchen. And we also didn't have time to check out the LG Mood Up fridge with color changing panels. You really have to check out the images. It looks fantastic. Uh, or the Samsung new AI wall oven with an internal camera and technology that lets you send a view of the inside of your oven straight to social media. The AI Pro cooking algorithm can recognize up to 80 dishes and recommend an appropriate temperature, time, and cooking mode. Then send notifications to help prevent your food from burning. So, in short, robots are taking over the kitchen. That's the trend that we're watching. That's what's happening right now. And that is robots in the broad sense of the word. So, take Samsung's new oven as example. Using machine learning models and a camera, you can train any oven to recognize when bread is risen or a crust is golden brown and signal the owner when any item is ready. Or take, for example, the GE Profile Smart Mixer. Or using a built-in scale and AutoSense technology, the machine determines when something is finished mixing or needs more or less power. Also, let's not forget, 2 years ago already, Moly Robotics from the UK launched the robotic kitchen. It's extremely expensive, but it shows that the technology is there. So yes, we're seeing more and more IoT-enabled kitchen gadgets. The next step is that the producer will add machine learning algorithms and trains the gadget to recognize when the recipe or task is finished. And then moving on, you also mentioned restaurants, Tiffany. The case for IoT in restaurants is clear. Apart from what you mentioned, IoT devices help lower the operational expenses, support real time asset and inventory management, and facilitate the transition to digital ordering. But I'd like to add that also here, the restaurant of the future, the near future, I should say, depends on robots. We currently have, and they are also already being used and tested. We have robots that fry French fries, flip hamburgers. There's a robot for ghost kitchens, which in itself is another trend. And that robot for the ghost kitchen can produce up to 60 dishes per hour. There are plenty of pizza robots, I should add. There's a salad making robot. There's a fully automated mini bakery, which reminds me of a Krispy Kreme donut belt. And the list goes on and on. I'd like to highlight that these robots are cost effective, and in the current tight labor market, automation and robotization are the only solution for the existing labor shortage in restaurants.
Interesting. Thank you, Johannes. And from connected kitchens to connected cars, AT&T is shifting gears with a new approach to IoT and connected cars. AT&T is doing some in-house rearranging as it shifts all IoT and connected car functions under one roof. AT&T Connected Solutions. According to a company spokesperson, the shift is in response to the rapidly changing automotive market. The drive to be more software defined, along with the move from 4G to 5G, is pushing OEMs to think differently about the future of connectivity in cars. The goal is to accelerate the momentum that AT&T has built over the years in the IoT space among the big US wireless carriers. AT&T is widely recognized as one to beat in the IoT space, especially when it comes to cars. It boasts that nearly 60 million wholesale connected cars on its network and says that it covers more roads and highways than any other provider. Do you think of AT&T when you think of connected cars, Johannes?
No, not really, Tiffany, but honestly, in this story, that doesn't matter. It's still early days, and so they can still build a name for themselves in connected cars. But really, what AT&T is doing is very interesting. So AT&T has clearly identified the connected car industry as a huge market opportunity because connected cars need and produce a lot of data. The cars even that are connected today. Now, connected cars are a precursor of autonomous vehicles, and autonomous vehicles need and produce a massive amount of data, as we discussed in Planes, Trains, and Smart Cars webinar. AT&T Chief Technology Officer Jerry Legg wrote in a recent blog, actually he was saying, well, 5G is different. And what he then explained further, he said, well, 5G was designed and is now being deployed in a much different manner than previous wireless generations. In short, we are moving network services much closer to our users. And imagine a connected car, or someday soon a fully autonomous car, on a 5G network where the 5G standalone network core is in the same city or region. That results in reduced latency. That means that cameras, radars, and other sensors on that car can scan the environment and send the data across a localized network to be analyzed and responded to in near real time. So, in short, AT&T is moving resources closer to the edge for real-time data analysis and response. And the end goal is to have that capability in place when fully autonomous vehicles hit the road. We've been talking about edge computing and moving resources from the cloud to the edge for the past 2 years. So it's no surprise that AT&T is combining the IoT and connected car functions within their organization. I also remember having a discussion in Las Vegas about the latest virtual reality games, and the only way to get the real time response or to get to zero latency is by pushing the computing and storage resources as close as possible to the venue. So I'm wondering if what AT&T calls these edge zones are going to be a trend for real time data heavy applications.
Thanks, Johannes. And AT&T may tout their networks cover more roads and highways than any other provider, but who is the fastest? A recent article from RCR Wireless shared surprising insights on the fastest internet as T-Mobile, ranked the fastest by OpenSignal. And for the seventh consecutive time, OpenSignal has declared that T-Mobile US has the fastest 5G download speeds in the United States, hitting an average of 186.3 megabytes per second, according to the firm's latest 5G report. Comparatively, Verizon achieved an average 5G download speed of 84.9 megabytes per second, and AT&T claimed an average speed of only 71.1 megabytes per second. So I'm excited about this, as Sprint is who my carrier has been for many years. And since they've merged with T Mobile, I guess I have the fastest 5G speed. So that's great for me. But I did notice at CES, many attendees were struggling with internet speeds at the show and nearby hotels. But how is your internet speed, Johannes? And are you surprised to hear that T Mobile is ranked the fastest for 5G?
Well, my internet speed is 500 Mbps down, and I'm using cable. And for a family of four, that's what you need, is my experience. Now, we, everybody in the US, we're all spending about 80% of our time indoors. So I haven't really paid much attention to the 5G download speed, I have to say. And I'm with AT&T, and T, and as long as I have two bars, my download speed is fine. So I'm more focused on coverage, and the general coverage is getting better because I keep seeing carriers adding more cell towers. However, that whole picture changes in case of an emergency. So we had a power outage in Austin that lasted 3 days and longer for some people. The internet was down, and that means that everybody had to use 5G because that was the only network that was available. As a result, the 5G download speed dropped dramatically, as you can imagine. So kudos to T-Mobile for having the fastest 5G download speed. Unfortunately, I couldn't make use of it. In that case, an eSIM would have been handy. I could have switched networks to get a better download speed. And of course, and that's the trend. We are downloading, all of us, more data to our phones every year. So a higher download speed is always better. And if your work or activities take you outdoors on a regular basis, you will appreciate a higher download speed from T-Mobile.
Thanks, Johannes. And we're seeing more and more mergers and acquisitions. And our next story is about just that. Cognizant has entered into an agreement to acquire Mobica, an IoT software engineering services provider headquartered in Manchester, United Kingdom. Mobica's services span the full software development cycle, with core competencies in development, implementation, testing, and deployment of embedded software, and a specialization in clients' strategic internal research and development projects. Mobica's expertise is in three key areas: connected devices and digital transformation, silicon and technology platforms, and automotive and intelligent mobility. The Mobica acquisition is expected to further strengthen Cognizant's clients' offerings and position it as a strategic partner in enterprise digital transformation. The acquisition significantly expands Cognizant's IoT embedded software engineering capabilities and provides clients with a deeper and broader array of end to end support to enable digital transformation. Embedded software engineering is a fast growing segment of the IoT and engineering market. Market intelligence firm IDC forecasts global product engineering spending to increase from 83 billion in 2021 to 164 billion by 2026. What do you think of this acquisition, Johannes?
Well, first of all, thank you for finding this press release, Tiffany. But two things captured my attention when reading the press release. First, and you mentioned that the embedded software market is an important IoT market segment, and in other words, we are further strengthening and adding more capabilities to the edge. So we're pushing more software to the edge. Second, the workforce that Cognizant adds to its existing workforce is mainly based in Eastern Europe. And we know that a lot of software development was on and is already happening in Eastern Europe. And this acquisition indicates the growing importance of Eastern Europe for cutting edge technology development.
Thanks, Johannes. And another acquisition in the news as Volvo Cars has taken full ownership of its autonomous driving software division, Zenseact. It acquired the remaining 13.5% of shares in Zenseact from automotive software and hardware company ECARX. With this transaction, Volvo Cars further clarifies and simplifies Zenseact ownership, making the autonomous driving software company a fully owned subsidiary of Volvo Cars. Volvo said. And Zenseact is expected to continue operating as a standalone company and lead the development of safety, ADAS, and autonomous driving technologies for Volvo and Polestar cars. Another interesting partnership to mention is MasterCard and Uber Rider, the companies behind the mobility as a service platform PIC, who are expanding their partnership to create digital solutions for public transportation agencies and operators. Specifically, the partners will look to simplify access and payments for mobility services, providing a single platform to manage driver schedules, issue tickets, and complete payments. It seems like a lot of mergers and acquisitions focused on mobility. What do you think about that, Johannes?
Well, Tiffany, first of all, autonomous driving is coming. It's not a fad, it's still years away. It will arrive in stages, but it's coming. And autonomous driving will fundamentally change the car. A ton of electronics and sensors will need to be integrated in the car, and a complete software platform will need to be developed to manage and crunch all the data. This autonomous driving software platform combined with an integrated entertainment system will define the car. In the future, customers are going to buy a car because they like the autonomous driving platform of car maker A better than the platform that car maker B is using. Oh, and by the way, the autonomous driving platforms of US car makers will have a lot more options than the other platforms. So you will see that every car maker will have its own autonomous driving software division. And second, because it's so integrated in the car. And second, you'll see a lot of autonomous driving M&A activity because we've just started to figure this thing out. But we still have a long way to go. And one of the areas that where we need more addition is in the area of safety and security features. Then you mentioned mobility as a service. I like the concept. It will not work for everybody when you have a young family and you need to drive the kids around all the time, or if you need to drive a lot for your job, then mobility as a service may not work. So you need to go for personal transportation. But for a lot of people, it will. And this will create new markets when we can combine mobility as a service with autonomous vehicles. So, yes, this concept is already out there, is being used with the transport that we have right now, and it has a lot of potential now, and certainly when autonomous vehicles take off. So, expect some expect more M&A activity from major companies who are positioning themselves to benefit from this new growing market.
Thanks, Johannes. And as we gear up for the Green Things Summit, research from Simon Fraser University suggests that the Internet of Things devices can be made more sustainable by developing self powered printable smart sensors from emerging semiconductors. Smart sensors are already employed in a range of IoT devices we use daily. However, they traditionally require trillions of sensors, which require a highly energy intensive process to manufacture, raising sustainability concerns. Now, new research could overcome these issues, finding that employing alternative semiconductors that are printable, inexpensive, and eco friendly could make IoT devices greener. And the study, Wirelessly Powered Large Area Electronics for the Internet of Things, outlines key priorities and strategies towards pioneering sustainable IoT devices. Professor Vincenzo Pesunia, leader of the research at Simon Fraser University, believes that pioneering printable electronics using energy obtained from the environment, such as ambient light or ubiquitous radio frequency signals, could be critical to decarbonizing the production of IoT devices, essentially charging their smart sensor out of thin air. Considering your background in semiconductors, Johannes, how do you feel about this breakthrough and how do you feel it will impact the approach we take towards building IoT devices in the future?
Well, this is a big breakthrough, Tiffany, and we need more research in the printable electronics realm. We've covered printed electronics and additively manufactured electronics in our blog series. So the technology is there, and there are several different technologies, by the way, for this kind of print electronics. But we need more research to make it greener, faster, cheaper, and to add more capabilities like more sensors. Now, in terms of what this technology can do and how it will help with IoT devices, it allows an IoT designer to make cheaper and smaller devices, and it dramatically shortens the supply chain.
Thanks, Johannes. And to wrap things up, be sure to join us for the Green Things Summit. taking place this April, and contact us for more information on our speaking, sponsorship, and advertising opportunities at the Green Things Summit and other events we have planned this year. And for anyone attending the upcoming IoT Evolution Expo in February, I will be moderating 3 panels and we will have our team present at the event. So contact us if you'd like to schedule a meeting. Any final thoughts, Johannes?
Well, I would like to add to everybody who is in the audience. So join us at IoT Evolution Expo and definitely attend the panels that Tiffany's moderating. They're going to be great. We are looking forward to IoT Evolution to learn about new trends, to meet old friends, and do keep an eye out for our post-show report.
And remember that IoT marketing offers end to end marketing services from PR and brand development to content creation to design and production services to white label podcasts and webinars and more. And contact us to learn more about those services or schedule a free consultation at iotmktg.com. And be sure to check out our new podcast. And thanks to everyone for watching and joining us today. And thank you for the great insights, Johannes.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.